So I love a good werewolf movie. The best ones deliver a potent mix of primal horror and profound emotionality that I've always loved. Think American Werewolf in London, Ginger Snaps, Dog Soldiers, fucking Teen Wolf. But it's really been a while since we've seen a truly great entry in the werewolf genre. So when I heard that Leigh Whannell, the filmmaker behind Upgrade and The Invisible Man, was taking on Wolfman, I was pretty intrigued. Whannell has a great talent for reworking familiar tropes into something fresh, stylish, and unnerving. But while his Wolfman flashes moments of brilliance, it doesn't quite hold together as well as I'd hoped. No spoilers ahead, just a breakdown of why Wolfman, the first Blumhouse horror release of 2025, feels more uneven than transformative. So, Leigh Whannell, he's a distinct original voice in genre film with Upgrade. He delivered a super fun, high-octane thriller. He revitalized a classic with 2020's The Invisible Man, tapping into contemporary anxieties and delivering razor-sharp tension. He tries to do something similar here with Wolfman, layering in themes of generational trauma, an identity crisis, and the gnawing fear of becoming the monster your family dreads. So on paper, it's everything I want out of a modern creature feature. Thematically rich, starring great actors Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, and shot with a really interesting eye for psychological trauma and a psychological bent. But on screen, it doesn't really come together as well as I wanted it to. The setup is solid. Abbott plays a devoted father who, after a vicious attack by another Wolfman, undergoes a transformation and slowly becomes something dangerous and feral. He and his family hide out in a remote cabin, fighting off both the predatory creatures stalking them and his own painful, slow turn into a beast. Whannell is clearly aiming high, exploring personal and familial fear, touching on how the traumas we inherit can warp us into monsters. There's a distinct Cronenberg vibe and influence in the film's fascination with bodily and mental unraveling, but these ideas, although they're present and I appreciated it, they never fully crystallize. One major issue is the pacing. The first act drags, offering little tension or any emotional anchor. By the time we reach the more engaging second half, it's kind of hard to invest deeply in the characters. Still, Wolfman has its strengths. Whannell cleverly stretches Abbott's werewolf metamorphosis across most of the film, making it an agonizing, incremental process rather than one big moment. You really feel that pain. This choice emphasizes the psychological toll of Abbott's character and the toll it takes on his family. There's a queasy fascination watching a man lose himself in slow motion, and I really like that aspect of the movie. And the film's shifting visual perspective effectively mirrors Abbott's mental breakdown. We see the world through his animalistic eyes, which makes for a really disorienting and haunting dive into the mind of a man on the verge of turning into a beast that's going to rip his own family to shreds. Abbott is terrific, anchoring the film with a performance that's both viscerally physical and empathetic all the way through. He retains a spark of humanity even when succumbing to his lycanthropic side. Julia Garner, unfortunately, I love her, but she doesn't get a lot to do here. Her character barely registers beyond a rote maternal role, which is a genuine loss considering her range. She's great, but I feel this character could have been played by really anybody. But one element that genuinely works is the creature design. The Wolfmen in this movie don't exactly look like traditional werewolves. They're rough, patchy hybrids, more like rabid monster dogs than sleek, werewolves. But the practical effects look great, and they ground the horror in a tactile reality. The wooded isolation of the cabin setting and just having like 3 or 4 characters amped up the claustrophobia part of the movie, which was pretty cool, but it also made the movie feel really small and a little cheap, which makes sense. This is Blumhouse, right? So, Wolfman is packed with really intriguing ideas and themes of generational pain, the loss of identity, and the terror of losing control, but it never develops these themes into something fully cohesive. It's a film I wanted to love, especially given Whannell's track record, but it feels uneven, has pacing issues, just feels undercooked. If you're a Leigh Whannell fan or you can't resist werewolf movies like me, there's enough to recommend here. You'll have a good time. But trying to slot this into Whannell's whole film canon, it's definitely toward the bottom. Still, I mean, it's January. It's a horror movie, one of the first horror movies we've gotten this year. So although I didn't love it, again, I am going to recommend horror fans check it out. I mean, it's Leigh Whannell. He does some really interesting things with the visuals, and he's really going for something. The fact that it doesn't all come together, I don't know, it's a bummer, but still a light recommendation. So hey, if you saw Wolfman, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I really want to hear from people who love this movie. I've been seeing like really negative reviews, and I mean, I guess I get it, but it's not a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's not great. All right, if you like this review, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. You can also find me on Letterboxd and on Substack and on Blue Sky. All of those links are down below, and you can find them at glitch.film. Thanks. See you next time.